You'll pay for this, Flowers.
Actually, we paid for it, and now we're gonna tell you if it was worth it. Welcome back to another video on the JB and Millie channel. I am JB, and here we have our review of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World Complete Edition. Now, this is available on multiple platforms, including Stadia, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Nintendo Switch. We of course have it on the Nintendo Switch, and the price for this in the US is $14.99, and it was £11.99 over here in the UK. Now, I didn't play the original Scott Pilgrim game, in that I don't remember when it was delisted from online stores. I don't have any of that background going into it. Honestly, this is the first time that I even knew that Scott Pilgrim had a game. I was very familiar with the comic book series by Brian Lee O'Malley, and I've been really enjoying the movie as well, starring Michael Cera, directed by Edgar Wright. I just think it's such a great time. But honestly, this game is amazing. We've done a playthrough on the channel that's ongoing from the Nintendo Switch, and we're also playing through it personally on the Switch Lite, so we have both perspectives there. Now, to start off with the good stuff, oh my gosh, you cannot hear about this game without listening to the soundtrack. Like, the soundtrack is so iconic. The music is done by Yamaguchi, and literally, it's just phenomenal. Now, I do admit some songs are slightly better quality than others. You know, there's going to be one that's iconic. You're going to want to download it, listen to it on repeat. There's at least 4 or 5 of these songs. But then there's also songs that just come across as a bit too outdated for my sensibilities. But when the soundtrack is lagging slightly, the gameplay is still top notch, so you don't need to worry about that. And really, a few weaker songs doesn't mean that there's any bad songs. In fact, I don't think there's one single bad song in this. Now, soundtrack is excellent, like we say, and the style that it comes with is phenomenal. We're purposely shying away from gameplay of the later stages, but honestly, the second level, you know, is with Lucas Lee, the 7 Evil X, who is a skateboarder slash actor, and they convey this in the most creative way. Like, the little mob villains are members of the paparazzi who stun you with the flash of a camera. It really is amazing stuff. Like, I don't know, it just seems like if you're gonna direct a movie starring, you know, with Edgar Wright in the helm of the director's chair, it's so stylized, you know what you're getting into. And I feel like that's very much the same thing with the game. Like, there's literally like mob enemies in this that are just, you know, wearing like the green screen costumes. It honestly is just leaking creativity. And more on that, the stages themselves are all really good. I did find it somewhat jarring that the first level was quite long. There was a, you know, outer world of a snowy Toronto, and then it went into the underground, and it pretty much lasted for about twice the time as the second level, which I was a bit, I don't know, on the fence about. I wasn't loving it, I wasn't hating it. It just struck me as very odd that they mismatched them. But I think it worked for what it was, and that's something that I praised the game on overall, in that they're not just like, we need a level to be consistent. They're doing exactly what they think is right, and I credit them for that. The design as well is pretty much based on the same artwork as the Brian O'Malley comic. So you pretty much are playing through a graphic novel in a sense, and I absolutely love that because it lends itself to that 8-bit style perfectly. It's not like they tried to, you know, over animate it so it was, you know, hyper realistic, but conversely, it's not like they went low budget, completely cheap. They did exactly the right style for this arcade style beat 'em up, and I absolutely adore that. Also, the mechanics are irresistible. There's so many moves that you can unlock per character. The characters, by the way, is amazing because you're not just limited to Scott Pilgrim. You can be Knives Chow, Wallace Wells, Kimberly, you can be Stephen Stills. There's just so many options, and I'm actually really proud of that. I'm impressed with that because whilst I was playing as Scott Pilgrim, it's great to know that it's so inclusive, you know, for female players that want themselves represented in a way that isn't necessarily Scott Pilgrim, but also fans of other people like Stephen Stills. You know, it's just great how people are represented through that, and people can choose their favourite characters, which I absolutely love. And unlockables, you know, you can buy upgrades, you can buy food. There's just so many things that I find absolutely incredible about this. So all in all, the game is just amazing. There's not many more things I can say to praise it, because it's something that I really would insist that you buy it and play it for yourself, so that you truly know how amazing this is and you will not be disappointed, I promise you that. Now onto a bit more of the negative things. The Ubisoft Online thing, something that's going to be spoken about by every content creator. I don't blame them for that. It wasn't a huge issue for me, but it is an issue that is there, and I acknowledge that it is a bit unnecessary, and that's the thing why I'm bringing it up, and it's why it's in the negative aspect, because it could have been avoided so easily. Like, I know people defend Ubisoft saying, well, you know, it's a third-party game, so of course they're going to have their own way of doing things, and I do acknowledge that that can be the case. But if you look at other ports from third-party software like Minecraft, who have their built-in shops for your convenience, you have Among Us, who, you know, don't require you to like get an inner sloth account. You can just hop online to the servers there and it's fine. So I just feel that this decision made by Ubisoft or Nintendo to require a sign up and membership in order to use it when you've got Nintendo Online, that should have sufficed in my opinion. And also the controls are somewhat slippery, for lack of a better word, in that if you want to dash, you kind of have to like jolt the Joy-Cons from one side to another. I guess this simulates, you know, how it would have been played originally, or I guess even the arcade style of shifting things from one side to another. But to me personally, it was a bit awkward. Now, it did work a lot better on Switch Lite, so I'm not sure if it was just the larger Joy-Cons or the detachable Joy-Cons, but I did find it a lot easier to control over on the Switch Lite. And here's one that's a point, but also not a point, but it's something that I personally feel very strongly on, is the fact that it doesn't have a physical release. And this isn't like an evil thing. A lot of things don't have physical releases, and I am aware that there is an amazing physical release lined up for limited run games. I really am tempted to get the KO edition, but the fact that a physical release isn't going to be readily available to everyone, you know, if you're in the UK or in Europe, you're going to have to pay the extra shipping price for limited run games. It just to me is a bit baffling that such a kind of popular game based on popular books, on a popular film, isn't really given the gravitas that it deserves. It's a bit baffling to me that obviously a lot of people are willing to spend money on a physical release. Like, I don't know how many people are planning on getting the KO edition, but that's about $130, and if, you know, limited run games are confident enough that there's enough Scott Pilgrim fans that will, you know, give them $130 for that release, I kind of feel like there's no excuse why there should be no Ubisoft physical release, Nintendo Switch physical release. It just seems very odd to me, especially considering that that could have been a great marketing ploy, because this game was originally delisted on online platforms, and so to then go, oh, but look, here now we're safeguarding this to make sure it doesn't happen again, so here's the physical, it just seems like a very missed opportunity to me personally. Another thing that I feel very strongly about, and I know that this is going to be a bit controversial, I joked about it in my playthrough, but there's, I guess in the first level, one of the enemies is actually a dog. And, you know, I know it's an arcade beat 'em up, you know, you shouldn't take things too seriously, of course, you know, you're actually going around hitting what are meant to be human beings in this world, but it just felt very strange to me that you physically, as a human, had to defeat a dog with hand-to-hand combat. I don't know if anyone else had a problem with that, but as a dog lover and a dog owner, that to me was a step too far. I could acknowledge and make a joke about it on camera, but I don't know, just something didn't feel right about that. Not saying that they should censor it or even remove it, but I don't know. I'd like to hear, you know, people's opinion on that. But regardless, bottom line is it's an amazing game, such amazing controls for the most part, amazing characters that you can use, and it's just based on such a great series that I really can't wait to play more of this. I'm going to get addicted to this, and I am actually at this point going to kind of reveal that I am seriously considering getting the KO edition, because to get that soundtrack on cassette, on CD, to get all the little details with it, oh man, I'm really looking forward. But what do you guys think? I personally give this a solid 8 out of 10. So do you guys have it? Are you going to get it? Do you think it's worth it? If you want to see more of these types of videos, please like, comment and subscribe to JB and Millie, and of course let us know what you think in the comments below.
Is Scott here?
You know what? He just left.